painting is one of the most iconic post-impressionist paintings of all time, painted by Van Gogh in 1889 with oil on canvas, while he was at Starry Night seeking treatment in a mental asylum. Starry Night is one of the most famous and yet most elusive works of Van Gogh. In this recording, I will try to evaluate the different interpretations of Vincent's Starry Night and explore the life of the Dutch painter. Born in 1853, Vincent drew as a child and was a serious and thoughtful kid. Later in his life, unfortunately, he was troubled by mental illness and dedicated himself to art, working often at furious pace and producing more than 2,000 works of art, including around 10,000 drawings and 900 paintings in a 10-year career. Interestingly, he was only able to sell one painting in his lifetime. He developed a unique style with his dramatic brushwork and vivid expressions that eventually went on to shape Expressionism, Fauvism, and early abstraction. Unlike many other artists who painted realistic landscapes and portraits, Vincent used expressive brushstrokes to visualize his emotions and reveal personal impressions on the subject being painted. In Starry Night, one can feel the emotions and how they are playing a game of hide and seek with faith and hope. The first thing I notice about the painting is the cypress bush, the crescent moon, and the sky. The sky is brimming with light, with moon and stars, and probably the morning star that radiates brightness on the dark, peaceful night. Interestingly, in 1985, art historian Albert Boime pointed that Vincent's morning star was in fact planet Venus. In Starry Night, Vincent's unique, thick brush strokes are very obvious, and it's possible that his mental state dramatized his brushwork. There is a consistency to his technique that adds depth and a rich texture to this work of art. In general, the brushstrokes give an illusion of constant motion. There are various interpretations of Starry Night, and overall, it seems that Vincent had essentially found his heaven and made peace with the past and his life. In his letter to his brother Theo, Vincent comments, "I should not be surprised if you liked the starry night and the plowed fields. There is a greater quiet about them than in any other canvases." This loosely implies that the tone and the emotion of the Starry Night may have been calmness and peace that Vincent was trying to achieve. The main source of light in the painting are the bright stars and the crescent moons. It seems that he was trying to contrast life and death with luminous stars and a gloomy, peaceful village. Vincent's choice of color in Starry Night has been much debated, particularly the dominance of yellow in this and the other later works. The use of white and yellow creates a spiral effect and draws attention to the sky. Vertical lines such as the cypress tree and church tower softly break up the composition without retracting from the powerful night sky that is depicted in the Starry Night. The dominance of blue in Starry Night is balanced by the orange of night sky elements. There are many interpretations of Starry Night, but I focus mainly on the three major interpretations as highlighted by many scholars and critics. The first interpretation creates a religious presence to the painting. Starry Night might convey strong feelings of hope through the bright stars shining over a dark night. In the painting, the stars and the moon have large halos of light with a church standing over a smaller, less detailed buildings in a village. Many researchers' critiques have linked this to Book of Genesis, where Joseph dreamt of 11 stars, the sun and the moon, that symbolized his brothers and parents bowing down to him. There are exactly 11 stars in Starry Night, perhaps directly referring the biblical verse. The second interpretation focuses on the cypress tree itself, that is a prominent element in Starry Night. Vincent may have identified himself with looming cypress tree in the foreground. The cypress tree in Starry Night is most eye-catching element of the painting, but also one of the most ambiguous part. mostly because of its size and its dark presence contrasting heavily with the brightly colored stars. Starry Night was painted during a sad period of Vincent's life, thus attaching emotions to the cypress tree of gloom and sorrow. The third and the final interpretation is of hope that gets reflected in the Starry Night. The painting portrays the passion Vincent had for night, where the powerful sky sits above the quiet village. Reflecting the post Impressionist style of painting, that was a reaction against Impressionism, or in fact, I call it liberation, where art was not meant to imitate form but to create it. In Vincent's case, his work seemed to reflect a great emotional intensity. Starry Night reflects his own emotions and soul. In my opinion, Starry Night represents Van Gogh's mental health and how he learned to let it go. The scene of this painting is scene of his escape. While I try to analyze the three major components of the painting, that is the cypress, the crescentic moon, and the village, I examined his major paintings, including the road with the cypress and star, landscape with couple walking and crescent moon, cypresses, and a sketch that was in a letter. I found that the moon is waning and not waxing, as featured in his other paintings. His other paintings point to a waxing moon that might show his hope for society, hope for survival, hope for establishing himself, and hope for starting a new era at the end of his phase. But with Starry Night, that hope seems to have come to an end. The next phase of Starry Night is a dark night with a new moon. It is a phase where all dreams come to an end and all aspirations finally die. The sleepy village seems to represent the rest of the world that is unaware of the passions, emotions, and agony of a struggling artist. The artist who was let down by the very world where he wanted to establish himself. The cypresses seem totally uncharacteristic with the rest of the painting. It disturbs the whole equilibrium that could have been a magical depiction of a starry night. I feel that the cypresses might represent Vincent himself, that stands in an isolation and looks at heaven, rooted deeply in his desire for acceptance from the world. Maybe we celebrate grief more than hope. To me, the painting reflects broken hope. It gives me an idea of a tragic artist who was continuously rejected by society. With all his dreams broken towards the end, this painting signals coming to a peaceful end. The sky is bright and the earth is dark. Objects that are near are broken and fragmented with darkness, whereas far off objects in the sky are bright and illuminated. Starry Night is a painting of acceptance and dead hope, where Vincent could finally have accepted the life he led and the death that awaits. Starry Night may have been a transition point for him when his final hopes would have been broken. To conclude, I remember a poetic composition, Hope, by Emily Bronte, written in 1846, that says, "She was cruel in her fear. Through the bars one dreary day, I looked out to see her there, and she turned her face away." It can be inferred that a person who is hurt does not feel hope as a regular aspect of looking to the future, but finds hope to be a distant phenomena that offers no solace.